Meanwhile, General John Kelly's first day as White House Chief of Staff was Anthony Scaramucci's last as communications director. After only 10 days on the job, Scaramucci was fired yesterday. This photo shows him in the Oval Office just hours before he was asked to leave the building. Scaramucci's removal came at the urging of General Kelly, who is looking to restore order to a chaotic West Wing. Our Major Garrett is at the White House with more.
We just swore in General Kelly. He will do a spectacular job, I have no doubt.
The first big decision from the new Chief of Staff, John Kelly.
Thank you.
Kissing hot-headed Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci goodbye, just days after his dramatic arrival. Mr. Scaramucci felt it was best to give Chief of Staff John Kelly a clean slate, the White House said in a terse statement. His expletive-laced tirade with the New Yorker last Wednesday demeaned Chief of Staff Reince Priebus and Chief Strategist Steve Bannon. Scaramucci tried to make amends with senior advisor and Mr. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. A confidant called Scaramucci's New Yorker rant an incredible act of self-immolation he could never recover from.
The president certainly felt that Anthony's comments were inappropriate for a person in that position, and he didn't want to burden General Kelly also with that line of succession.
Scaramucci, the third communications director in 6 months, was escorted out of the White House Monday afternoon, leaving many of the president's aides in shock. Priebus resigned days after Scaramucci's arrival. Former Press Secretary Sean Spicer resigned over Scaramucci's hiring.
But if you're going to keep leaking, I'm going to fire everybody. It's just very
Scaramucci arrived threatening to root out disloyal leakers and boasted of his tight relationship with the president.
I want to congratulate you on having done a fantastic job, General, and we look forward to, if it's possible, an even better job as Chief of Staff.
That's right, sir. As for those who remain, the president has given General Kelly full authority in the West Wing. All staff, including Kushner and wife Ivanka, are said now to report to Kelly.
Major Garrett joins me now from the White House. Major, let's begin with General Kelly. He took command on day one. How important was that, and could more people be in the line of fire?
Well, I don't have a sense right now that more people are in the line of fire. What I think General Kelly wanted to do with Anthony Scaramucci is move him out of the White House, take his disruptive nature and his willingness to talk so abrasively and so in such a vulgar way about his own colleagues. I mean, remember, Chief Strategist Steve Bannon is still in the West Wing and a significant figure in the Trump White House. General Kelly, like any trained member of the United States military, but particularly a four-star Marine general, values unit cohesion and a sense of teamwork. And it was clear he did not believe Scaramucci contributed to that. And I'm sure he was also rattled by Scaramucci's repeated contention that he would report only to the President of the United States, ignoring all other chain of command. And upon negotiating for this Chief of Staff position, it is obvious that General Kelly negotiated for himself ultimate chain of command authority over everyone in the West Wing. Is that durable chain of command authority? We don't know, but he at least negotiated it up front. And on this very first and conspicuous personnel move, the president did not object.
Major Sarah Huckabee Sanders said yesterday that all White House staff will report to General Kelly. You mentioned in your piece that includes the president's family working as top aides. That will be new, correct?
Absolutely new. It would be new not just for senior advisor Ivanka Trump, senior advisor Jared Kushner, her husband and the president's son-in-law, but others in the White House, like Steve Bannon, like Gary Cohn, the top economic advisor, like Kellyanne Conway, all of whom have had direct access to the president, can walk into the Oval Office anytime they want, bring any issue or idea or grievance to the president without any particular choke point on their arrival or their business with the president in the Oval Office. Most effective chiefs of staff can't limit access of people of that senior nature in any West Wing, but what they try to do is tighten that access. What's the purpose of your interaction with the president? What's the likely outcome? What is your agenda? And what is the president's agenda? And is his time day in and day out being spent to advance that agenda or be distracted from it? And the clear impression you get from General Kelly's arrival is he believes the president was too often distracted. Others close to the president believe he was too often distracted. And that's one of the things he's going to try to smooth out.
Major Scaramucci's firing leaves the president now searching for a new communications director. Who is being considered?
Lots of names are being floated. It's a very fluid situation. I can't tell you definitively who's going to get this job, but certainly Kellyanne Conway, counselor to the president, has a lot of communication skills, was an effective communicator during the campaign for then candidate Trump. Many in the Trump inner circle believe that was her top contribution to the campaign. Hope Hicks, who is a special assistant to the president, does a lot of the president's day-to-day managing of his message and the interpretation thereof, also being mentioned. Jason Miller was a communications director during the campaign. He had a falling out with the campaign. He might come back into the conversation. And if General Kelly wants to exert control yet again and radiate throughout the West Wing that he can not only make decisions but bring some of his own trusted people in, a gentleman named David LePan, who worked with Kelly at the Pentagon and Homeland Security, a communications professional, is someone Kelly values, trusts, and may ask the president to see if he can bring in here. That would be an indication that Kelly not only has power within the West Wing as he found it, but power to bring in new people, even though they don't have a particularly solid relationship with the president.
Major, before we let you go, I want to ask you about this Washington Post report about President Trump personally dictating the response to his son's meeting with a Russian lawyer. What are you hearing from the White House about that?
Well, pure deflection. The White House now just simply does not take questions on these legal matters involving the Russia investigation. They deflect everything to the president, rather. Let me start that again. They deflect it all to the president's personal attorneys, of which there are 3. The most frequently contacted and the attorney who is most likely to comment publicly is Jay Sekulow. There are 2 other attorneys, Ty Cobb and John Dowd, but Sekulow has sort of been given the task and the burden of responding publicly to these stories. I talked to Jay Sekulow last night, and Jeff Pegues, our colleague, summarized Sekulow's comments to me and to everyone else in the media, that this Washington Post story is of no consequence, the characterizations are misinformed, inaccurate, and not pertinent. That's a lot of adjectives, but not much of an answer. And I texted Jay Sekulow back. I said, wait a minute, you're being accused in public of lying about whether or not the president was involved in the drafting of this Donald Trump Jr. statement aboard Air Force One coming back from Germany. Do you want to respond to that accusation? And do you still stand by your twice publicly stated contention that President Trump had nothing to do with the drafting of that Donald Trump Jr. statement? No response last night or this morning from Jay Sekulow. That silence, that lack of response, I think is a significant part of this story.
Very interesting. Our Major Garrett at the White House. It's always a pleasure. Thanks.
You.